when this happens in America, what follows is martial law. Giving all praise to Yahweh Shemal Shai B'Shem HaKadosh. This right here, what I put in was Sri Lanka, and this came up, and this 2 days, two days ago, 2 hours ago. Now, as of a couple of hours ago, 4 hours ago or so, 8 hours, 2 hours, they breached the president's palace. They're not showing you any pictures of it. Give me a second here. Let me. Okay, it says Sri Lanka. Prime Minister says the country is bankrupt. No money. People are starving. Sri Lanka police fire tear gas at protesters. This was two hours ago. Sri Lanka is grinding to a halt amid fuel shortages, inflation, and austerity prompting mass protests. What's happening in Babylon? Certain stations you go in, you pull in, it may not have regular or the mid-grade, but it may have the high, the high test, what we used to call a high test, the premium. And it might be $6, $5.49. So you're gonna get mad. And I've been to stations where some of the, the only gas that they had was the premium, and you keep going. You say, I ain't paying no almost $6 for no premium. So it says Sri Lanka is, and this is a model as to what's going to happen in America. This is what Second Ezra, the 15th chapter, and Second Ezra, the 16th chapter is all about. So when you read Second Ezra, the 15th chapter, and Second Ezra, the 16th chapter, it follows suit. And then you go back to Second Ezra, the 13th chapter, and that's when the Lord comes. The Lord will come after Second Ezra chapter 15 and Second Ezra chapter 16 come to pass. The end game is when he and the angels come back. Then it says in Second Ezra's, the 13th chapter, it said some were happy, some were sad, some were bound. So one of the first acts that's going to take place after the destruction, after the Lord comes back, after we get delivered in the ships, we're going to come back down to earth as in New Jerusalem. We are the New Jerusalem. When John saw the city coming down from heavens, which was New Jerusalem, that's talking about the ship that we're going to be in. Or you might say ships. Well, it says in Revelation 11 chapter that we're going to be, beamed up, or we're going to be taken up. The word beam is not in there. We're going to be taken up in a cloud, singular. So you might say, well, some of the angels are going to pick us up too. Well, not according to Revelation 11. But either way, I have no problem with it. As long as I get delivered, Most High, Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai Ratazah. I don't, as long as I'm delivered in one of the ships, I have no problem with that. But I believe that we're going to be delivered. And this is not just my belief. This is based upon scripture, Revelation chapter 11. We're going to be beamed up into one ship. And then we're going to come down. So that's the New Jerusalem. The New Jerusalem is that ship that Yahweh Shai, because we're going to watch part of the prophecies. The prophecies are not completed because part of the prophecies pursuant to Psalms 92 is we have to behold the reward of the wicked. So we have to see the destruction. And what we're going to see is what John the Apostle saw in a series of visions when he looked down and he saw the lake of fire. So we're going to see the lake of fire. We're going to be up above that, and we're going to see the missiles hitting this place, the lasers hitting this place. And you're going to see that destruction, and it's going to look like a lake of fire. So we're going to actually see what John the Apostle saw in the vision on the Isle of Patmos. So this is beautiful, man. Anyway, if you go to, I don't know if I'm going to go to that, but they don't want YouTube, they're a bunch of bitch asses. Let me do this. Okay, so he said, this was as of 2 days ago. Sri Lanka Prime Minister says the country is bankrupt. Sri Lanka police fired tear gas at protesters. This was 2 hours ago. Now, you have people in the presidential palace or the prime minister's house. They done breached the prime minister. They done breached the president. Sri Lanka is grinding to a halt. As it is, it's already bankruptcy. Means it's not grinding. It's ground to it's grinded. I guess the word is, to a halt amid fuel shortages, inflation, which is high prices, and austerity, meaning the government to put things back in order, they're using what's called draconian laws. And the ultimate draconian law is martial law, prompting mass protests. Okay, here it is. As of 4 hours ago, this is Sky News breaking. Sri Lanka protesters storm president's house. And there's a video of them laying on the bed. There's a bunch of them up in there. So I should be on Sri Lanka, because what's happening in Sri Lanka is going to happen over here. It's going to happen around the world. Anytime there's the leader of a country declares bankruptcy, no gas, no food. If you can find food, it's going to cost you an arm and 2 legs. That's when people lose it. As Gerald Celente always says, when people have nothing else to lose, they lose it. This is as of the BBC News, as of 24 minutes ago. Protesters stormed Sri Lanka presidential residence. BBC News. 24 minutes ago. This is live. Auto added chaos. Auto add chaos. Auto add KO. Chaos grips crisis hit Sri Lanka. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, whatever, chair cabinet meet. World News. The average person, they're not looking for the meeting. They're looking to get something to eat. There it goes again. Okay, this is, I believe this is, I don't want to click on it because you know how YouTube do. I believe that this is the presidential palace house, big house. Got a bunch of these Sri Lanka trees, I'll call them trees. It says Sri Lanka protesters storm president's residence amid economic crisis. Protests. And what's coming next? I'm gonna tell you what, to bring order, they're gonna declare martial law. So when this happens any place else on the planet, the leader of the country has no more control. They declare martial law. So if it happens over here, or when it happens over here, most supermarkets, people are not buying shoes anymore. They had earlier yesterday on the Bloomberg. I listen to Bloomberg in my car most of the time, and they said that they noticed that people are not buying shoes or sneakers like they used to. Yeah, because people really don't need shoes and sneakers. They need food. People are worrying about having a roof over their head and having food in their bellies. They're not going out there buying clothes and 100-inch flat screen smart TVs. They're buying food. Go to BJ's. I was in BJ's the other day. Looking the carts of the people cashing out. It's food. They ain't buying that other shit too tough. They're buying food, drink. They're not buying shoes and pants. This was as of 36 minutes ago. Evening News, Sri Lanka, politics, latest news, and blah, 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 blah. And we here at Great Millstone been telling you this is going to happen. So all eyes are on Sri Lanka and the Ukraine. And the former Japanese prime minister getting assassinated, allegedly. I saw the film. They finally showed the film of the gun blast, and it's iffy. It's iffy. And then, what about a day or two before that, this guy, Boris Johnson, whatever his name is, he's the premier, the head of England, like the American equivalent to the American president, the presidency. He'd be like the English UK president. He resigned, and a bunch of people resigned with him. Here it goes again, 44 minutes ago, breaking. Protesters stormed Sri Lanka president residence in capital Colombo. Now, where's the president in all this? He got out the back door. He knew they were coming. The troops said, sir, we got to get out. Got to get out now. They're bashing down the door. You're not going to stay and try to stop them because they'll kill you or hold you as hostage or something. So he had to leave. So they just took it over. Anti-government protesters 11 minutes ago stormed Sri Lanka president's house. Now you saw what happened, the whole Gen 6 thing, where you had those mostly Edomites, not mostly Edomites. They breached the Capitol building, and so they're talking about it now, and they're trying to implicate the former president Trump, aka Nero Caesar. He's a hellraiser, man. He burnt down Rome. over 2,000 years ago, and he tried to get the capital get burnt down. Reincarnation is biblical. Sri Lanka economy crisis, protest president Gotabaya. And I guess that's him. And you see they dress in Western. This guy's right here. This guy right here. They're wearing Western, westernized fashion, dressed in a Greekish fashion. I guess this guy is the president. When they get the newscasters, they make them look as light as they can be. Edomized. "11 minutes ago, protests in Sri Lanka, YouTube short video, blah, blah, blah." And I guess that's the president's house. I don't know. 29 minutes ago, Sri Lanka's president house has fallen. So they're in the palace, and he's living good. You got the average people. They just took it over, man. So what comes next? They have to restore order. How are they going to restore order? They're going to bring in the troops. They're going to declare martial law. Breaking Sri Lanka, protesters have stormed the presidential palace. Insane, 13 minutes ago, insane scenes from Sri Lanka, country out of control. Yeah, which is chaos. Order at chaos, KO. Order out of chaos. So they got to bring order again, right? New world order. And how are they going to do that? They got to bring the troops in. They got to declare martial law. Martial law. Okay, martial law. See here. Martial law. Let me do it this way. And martial law just simply means that the military takes over. So it's military law. The Constitution or whatever country goes out the window. Anyway, with that, I'm gonna say shalom.